Captain Jake Morrison stared out at the black void of space from the bridge of his ship, the UES Defender. Stars twinkled like tiny diamonds against the darkness. But Jake knew that between those peaceful-looking stars, a terrible war was raging. For 15 long years, two massive groups of aliens had been fighting each other across the galaxy. Billions had died. Entire planets had been destroyed, but Earth had stayed out of it all. "Captain, we have a contact on long-range sensors," called out Lisa Rodriguez from her station. She was the ship's navigator, a sharp woman with quick eyes who never missed anything. "It's moving slow and heading right for Earth." Jake walked over to look at her screen. A blinking red dot showed a ship limping through space. "Can you tell what kind it is?" "Running scans now," said Ben Taylor, the chief engineer. He was a big man with thick hands that could fix anything. His fingers moved fast over his control panel. "It's a hegemony cruiser, Captain. Looks badly damaged." Jake nodded. The Hegemony Alliance was one of the two sides fighting the war. They were led by different alien races who wanted to control the galaxy. The other side called themselves the Free Worlds Coalition. Both sides had asked Earth to join them. Both sides had been told no. "Kate, open a channel," Jake ordered. Kate Phillips, the communications officer, pressed some buttons. She was young but good at her job. "Channel open, Captain." "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Morrison of the Terran Defense Force. You are approaching Earth space. Please state your intentions." The screen flickered and showed the face of an alien. It looked like a giant lizard with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. Scars covered its green scales. This was Commander Zess, Jake realized. He had met the alien before during other encounters. "Captain Morrison," the alien said in a rough voice, "my ship is badly damaged. We need repairs and medical help. Many of my crew are dying." Jake felt sorry for them, but he had his orders. "Commander Zess, you know the rules. Earth space is neutral. We can provide basic medical supplies and emergency repairs, but then you must leave. We cannot allow any military vessels to remain in our territory." The alien's eyes flashed with anger, but then he seemed to calm down. "I understand your position, human, but I must warn you. This neutrality of yours will not protect you much longer. The war is changing. Both sides are getting desperate." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "New weapons are being built. Terrible weapons that can destroy entire star systems. And there are those on both sides who think Earth would make a perfect base for their operations. Your planet is rich in resources and your people are interesting to study." A cold feeling ran down Jake's spine. "Are you threatening us, Commander?" "No. Captain Morrison, I am trying to warn you. I have fought alongside humans before in small conflicts. You are good fighters, better than most aliens realize, but you cannot stand against the full might of either alliance. Choose a side before a side is chosen for you." The transmission ended. Jake stared at the blank screen for a moment. Ben Taylor broke the silence. "Captain, should we escort them out of our space?" "Yes. Send 2 patrol ships with them. Make sure they get the supplies they need, then see them safely to the border." Meanwhile, far below on Luna Station, Admiral Frank Carter was having his own problems. He stood in the command center looking at reports that came in every day. More and more alien ships were trying to enter Earth space. Some were refugees running from the war. Others were military vessels looking for a safe place to hide and repair. "Sir, we have another situation," said his aide, Lieutenant Paul Green. 3 more refugee ships just entered the outer system. They're carrying families from the Altair colonies. The Hegemony bombed their worlds last week. Admiral Carter rubbed his tired eyes. He was an old soldier who had seen many battles, but this was different. Send them to Refugee Station 7 and make sure they understand they can only stay for 30 days. On Earth, President Helen Brooks sat in her office reading the same reports. She was a strong woman who had led Earth through many difficult times. But this war was testing even her skills. "Madam President," said her secretary through the intercom, "Dr. Alex Morgan is here to see you. Send him in." Dr. Morgan walked in carrying a thick folder. He was a thin man with glasses who studied alien biology and technology. His job was to understand how alien weapons and ships worked, just in case Earth ever needed to defend itself. "What do you have for me, Alex?" the president asked. "Nothing good, I'm afraid," he said, sitting down. "I've been studying the wreckage from recent battles that drifted into our space. Both sides have weapons that are far more powerful than anything we imagined. Energy beams that can cut through our strongest metals like paper. Bombs that can crack a planet's crust." President Brooks felt her heart sink. "How do we compare?" "Honestly, we don't. Our weapons are toys compared to theirs. Our ships are fast and well built, but their shields and armor are centuries ahead of ours. If either side decided to attack Earth directly, we couldn't stop them. Then we keep doing what we've been doing," the president said firmly. "We stay neutral. We help refugees when we can. We trade with anyone who wants to trade peacefully. And we hope this war ends before anyone decides we're worth conquering." Back on the UES Defender, Jake Morrison watched the damaged Hegemony ship slowly move toward the edge of Earth space. His patrol ships followed it like guard dogs, making sure it left without causing trouble. "Think he was telling the truth?" Lisa Rodriguez asked. "About the war changing?" "Probably," Jake replied. "Wars always change. They always get worse before they get better." "What if they decide Earth isn't neutral anymore?" Kate Phillips asked quietly. "What if they decide we have to pick a side?" Jake looked around at his crew. These were good people. Lisa with her sharp mind and quick smile. Ben with his steady hands and loyal heart. Kate with her young face and brave spirit. They deserved to live in peace. All humans did. "Then we'll deal with it when it happens," he said. "For now, we do our job. We protect Earth space. We stay neutral, and we hope that's enough." But deep down, Jake had a feeling that Commander Zess was right. The war was coming to Earth whether they wanted it or not. The only question was when, and whether humanity would be ready when it arrived. The stars continued to twinkle in the darkness, beautiful and peaceful from a distance. But Jake knew that between those stars, the galaxy was burning. And sooner or later, that fire would reach Earth's door. 3 months had passed since Commander Zess's warning, and Jake Morrison was beginning to think the alien had been wrong. The war continued to rage in distant star systems, but Earth remained safe in its bubble of neutrality. Refugee ships still came and went. Trade continued with peaceful aliens, and life went on as normal. Then everything changed in a single morning. "Captain!" Lisa Rodriguez's voice was sharp with alarm. "We have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace, big ones." Jake rushed to the bridge of the UES Defender. What he saw on the main screen made his blood turn cold. Hundreds of massive, alien warships were appearing in space around Earth's outer planets. They were dark gray with sharp angles and glowing red lights. Hegemony ships. "Count them," Jake ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. "Still counting, sir," Ben Taylor said from his station. "So far, I have over 300 vessels. That's more firepower than in most sector fleets." Kate Phillips looked up from her communications panel, her face pale. "Captain, we're being hailed by the lead ship." "Put it on screen." The view screen filled with the image of an alien that made Commander Zess look small and friendly. This creature was huge, with a black shell like a giant insect. 4 arms ended in clawed hands, and multiple red eyes glowed with cold intelligence. When it spoke, its voice sounded like grinding metal. "I am Supreme Admiral Korth of the Hegemony Alliance. You will identify yourself, human. I'm Captain Morrison of the Terran Defense Force. You are in neutral space, Admiral. What are your intentions?" The alien's mandibles clicked together in what might have been laughter. "Neutral space? There is no neutral space anymore, human. The war has grown beyond such weak concepts. I am here to inform your leaders that Earth will now serve as a forward base for hegemony operations." Jake felt his heart pounding, but he kept his voice calm. "Earth's neutrality has been recognized by both sides for 15 years. We have treaties." "Treaties are words on paper," Admiral Korth interrupted. "I have ships and weapons. Your planet will provide military bases, manufacturing facilities, and resources for our war effort. You have 72 hours to begin preparations." "And if we refuse?" The alien's eyes seemed to glow brighter. Then we will take what we need by force. Do not test me, human. Your small ships are amusing, but they cannot stop what is coming. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Kate, send an emergency message to Earth Command, Jake ordered. Full priority. Tell them we have a situation. On Earth, alarms were already sounding in government buildings around the world. Admiral Carter stood in the Luna Station Command Center, watching the tactical display that showed the massive alien fleet surrounding Earth's outer system. How many ships, he asked. Final count shows 412 vessels, reported his aide, including at least 20 dreadnoughts and 6 supercarriers. Sir, this is more firepower than we've ever seen in one place. President Brooks arrived at the emergency command center beneath the White House within an hour. The room was filled with military officers, scientists, and government officials, all looking grim. Options? She asked without wasting time on greetings. General Sam Collins, commander of Earth's ground forces, spoke first. We have 2 million active military personnel and another 5 million reserves. Our space fleet has 200 ships, but most are patrol craft and escorts. Against this kind of force, he shook his head. Dr. Morgan, what about our technology? The president asked. The scientist looked tired and worried. I've been studying alien technology for years, but we're still decades behind them. Our weapons might scratch their paint. Their weapons can destroy cities. So we have no choice but to surrender? Asked Secretary of Defense Robert Kane. There's always a choice, President Brooks said firmly. The question is whether we can live with the consequences. Before anyone could respond, another alarm sounded. Madam President, called out the communications officer. We have another fleet entering the system. These are Free World's coalition ships. On the main screen, they watched as hundreds more alien vessels appeared in space. These ships were sleeker than the hegemony fleet, with curved lines and blue energy fields. At their head was a ship that looked like it was made of living coral. We're being hailed by the coalition fleet, the officer reported. Put it through. The screen showed an alien that looked like a cross between a dolphin and an octopus. Its skin was blue-green and seemed to shimmer in the light. When it spoke, its voice was musical but sad. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Admiral Vex of the Free World's Coalition. We have come to offer you protection from the hegemony threat. President Brooks stepped forward. Admiral, while we appreciate your offer, Earth wishes to remain neutral in your conflict. I understand your desire for peace, Admiral Vex replied, but as you can see, the hegemony does not respect neutrality. Join with us and we will protect your world from their aggression. Refuse and we cannot guarantee your safety when the fighting begins. Are you threatening us as well? The president asked. No. I am simply stating facts. The hegemony will not leave peacefully. If you do not accept our protection, they will take your world by force. The battle will happen here whether you want it or not. The transmission ended, leaving Earth's leaders staring at an impossible situation. 2 massive fleets faced each other across Earth's solar system, and humanity was caught in the middle. Dr. Morgan was called to another emergency meeting that evening. In a secure bunker beneath the Pentagon, he met with top military officials and scientists. We need options, Admiral Carter said bluntly. What do we know about their weaknesses? I've been studying the data from previous battles, Dr. Morgan replied. The hegemony relies on brute force and overwhelming firepower. The coalition uses more advanced energy shields and coordination tactics, but both sides have one thing in common. What's that? Asked General Collins. They're predictable. They follow standard military doctrine from their academies. They don't improvise well when things go wrong. And humans do? Humans excel at it. We're the most adaptable species in the galaxy. When our plans fail, we make new ones on the spot. When our weapons don't work, we build new ones. When faced with impossible odds, Dr. Morgan paused. Well, we usually do something crazy that nobody expects. Meanwhile, on board the UES Defender, Jake Morrison and his crew were watching the 2 fleets take positions around Earth. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Captain, Kate Phillips said quietly, I'm picking up communications between the fleets. They're not talking to each other, but both sides are talking to their homeworlds. What are they saying? The hegemony is requesting more ships. They want to make sure they have enough force to occupy Earth completely. The coalition is doing the same. Both sides think this is going to be a major battle. Lisa Rodriguez looked up from her navigation station. Captain, if shooting starts between those fleets, we're going to be right in the middle of it. I know, Jake replied. Ben, how long would it take to evacuate the civilian stations in the outer system? At least a week with our current ships, the engineer replied. Maybe longer if we have to dodge fighting ships. Jake made a decision. Start the evacuation, get every civilian transport we have moving, and send a message to both fleets. Tell them that Earth demands they keep their conflict away from civilian areas. Think they'll listen? Kate asked. Probably not, but we have to try. As night fell on Earth, President Brooks stood at the window of her office looking up at the stars. Somewhere up there, nearly 1,000 alien warships were preparing for battle, and Earth was about to become their battlefield. She thought about Commander Zess's warning 3 months ago. The alien had been right. Neutrality had not protected them. Now humanity faced a choice that would determine their future. Surrender, to one side or the other, or find a third option that nobody expected. The president made her choice. Tomorrow, she would address the world and announce Earth's decision. But tonight, she prayed that humanity was as adaptable as Dr. Morgan believed. Because they were about to find out just how far humans could be pushed before they pushed back. President Brooks stood before the cameras in the White House press room. Behind her, the flags of Earth's United Nations hung still and silent. Around the world, billions of people watched their screens, waiting to hear what choice their leader had made. My fellow humans, she began, her voice steady and strong. Today we face a moment that will define our species for generations to come. 2 alien empires have brought their war to our doorstep. Both demand that we choose their side. Both threaten us if we refuse. She paused, looking directly into the camera. Well, I have an answer for both of them. Earth chooses Earth. We will not bow to threats. We will not surrender our freedom. And we will not allow our world to become a battleground for someone else's war. The reaction was immediate. Across the globe, some people cheered while others feared what would come next. In space, both alien fleets received the transmission in stunned silence. Admiral Korth was the first to respond. His massive insect face filled screens around the world as he delivered his ultimatum. Foolish humans, you have chosen death over wisdom. In 6 hours we will begin bombardment of your military installations. Surrender then, or watch your world burn. The transmission cut off, leaving Earth's leaders to prepare for the impossible. On the UES Defender, Jake Morrison gathered his senior officers. The small bridge felt crowded as Lisa Rodriguez, Ben Taylor, and Kate Phillips huddled around the HEO tactical display. Orders from Earth Command, Jake announced. All ships are to engage any alien vessel that attacks human targets. We're to use hit-and-run tactics. Stay mobile, strike fast, and don't give them a chance to bring their full firepower to bear. Ben Taylor shook his head. Captain, we have 47 ships in the outer system. They have over 800. The math doesn't work. The math never works for humans, Jake replied with a grim smile. That's why we usually win anyway. The attack began exactly 6 hours later. Hegemony dreadnoughts fired massive energy beams at Earth's orbital defense platforms. The ancient stations built decades ago when humanity first reached space exploded like fireworks against the black sky. But the aliens had not expected what happened next. Instead of running or surrendering, the human ships charged straight at them. The UES Defender led a group of 12 patrol boats in a desperate attack on a hegemony battlecruiser. The alien ship was 10 times larger and 100 times more powerful, but Jake had something the aliens didn't expect. Lisa, plot a course. Through the asteroid field near Jupiter, he ordered. Ben, I need every bit of speed you can give me. Kate, start jamming their targeting systems. The human ships dove between spinning rocks and metal debris, moving in patterns that made no sense to alien commanders. When the hegemony ships tried to follow, They found themselves hitting asteroids and colliding with each other. "Now!" Jake shouted. The human ships burst from the asteroid field and struck the alien battlecruiser from 6 different directions at once. Their weapons were weak, but they hit the same spot over and over until the alien ship's shields failed. Missiles and laser fire poured into the gap, and the massive alien vessel began to list and burn. Similar attacks were happening all over the solar system. Human ships used the asteroids, the moons, even the radiation from Jupiter itself as weapons against their enemies. When conventional tactics failed, they tried something new. When those failed, they tried something nobody had ever thought of before. On Earth's surface, General Collins was putting his own desperate plan into action. Every major city had been turned into a fortress over the past few days. Soldiers and civilians worked together to set up defenses, build barriers, and prepare for ground combat. In New York, former Marine Sergeant Tony Davis helped coordinate the evacuation of children while setting up firing positions in skyscrapers. "If they want to take this city," he told his squad, "they're going to pay for every street." In Los Angeles, engineer Maria Santos worked with military teams to booby-trap the highways and bridges. "These aliens might have better technology," she said while wiring explosives under a freeway overpass. "But they don't know our cities like we do." The real surprise came from Dr. Morgan's laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. Working around the clock, his team had been taking apart alien technology from crashed ships and captured equipment. What they found changed everything. "The aliens are too specialized," Dr. Morgan explained to Admiral Carter over a secure video link. "Their weapons are designed for specific targets. Their shields work perfectly against known energy types. But humans think differently. We adapt. We improvise." "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying we've been doing it wrong. Instead of trying to copy their technology exactly, we need to mix it with our own ideas." He held up a strange device that looked like a human rifle crossed with alien energy coils. "This weapon uses alien power cells, but fires projectiles that our enemies have never seen before. Their shields don't know how to stop them." Within hours, human factories around the world were producing these hybrid weapons. Alien energy shields that could stop their own weapons were useless against human bullets powered by alien technology. Human ships equipped with modified alien engines could suddenly outrun pursuit craft. Human soldiers with alien-powered armor could survive attacks that should have killed them. But the biggest shock came when Kate Phillips, monitoring alien communications from her station on the Defender, made a discovery that changed the entire war. "Captain," she called out excitedly, "I've cracked their communication codes. I can hear everything they're saying to each other." "What are they saying?" Jake asked. "They're confused. The hegemony commanders keep asking their computer systems for tactical advice, but the computers can't figure out what we're doing. Humans don't fight the way their war games predict." Jake smiled for the first time in days. "Keep listening. And Kate, see if you can get into their computer networks." "Sir? If they're asking their computers for advice, maybe we can give them some bad advice." Meanwhile, Admiral Vex of the Free Worlds Coalition watched the battle from her flagship. She had expected the humans to be crushed quickly, leaving Earth open for Coalition occupation. Instead, she was watching the impossible happen. Human ships were actually winning fights against superior alien technology. "How are they doing this?" she asked her tactical officer. "Unknown, Admiral. Their ships are too small and too weak to cause this much damage, but somehow they keep finding ways to hurt our enemies and—" The officer paused nervously. "And what?" "Some of our own ships have been damaged by human attacks as well. They seem to consider us enemies too." Admiral Vex realized with growing alarm that humanity was not just refusing to choose sides in the Galactic War. They were fighting both sides at once. And somehow, impossibly, they were not losing. The turning point came during the Battle of Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. A combined force of hegemony and coalition ships had cornered 30 human vessels near the moon's surface. It should have been a massacre. Instead, Lisa Rodriguez made a discovery that changed everything. "Captain, the gravitational fields around Jupiter are interfering with their sensors. If we use the moon's ice geysers as cover and time our attacks with the orbital mechanics—" "Do it," Jake ordered. The human ships dove toward Europa's surface, using the moon's natural ice geysers as camouflage. When the alien ships followed, they found themselves flying blind through clouds of ice crystals and steam. Human ships, designed to work in harsh conditions, had no trouble navigating the chaos. The aliens did. When the battle ended, 3 hegemony dreadnoughts and 2 coalition heavy cruisers were drifting wrecks around Europa. The human fleet had lost only 4 ships, but they had proven something that sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Humans could fight, and humans could win. News of the victory spread to every corner of human space. On Earth, in the colonies, on ships and stations throughout the solar system, people who had spent their lives avoiding war suddenly found themselves eager to join the fight. "We're not trying to conquer anyone," President Brooks announced in her next address to the world. "We're not trying to rule the galaxy. We just want to be left alone. But if these aliens think they can come to our home and threaten our families, they're about to learn what humans do when we're pushed too far." The die was cast. Earth had chosen to fight, and the galaxy would never be the same. Word of Earth's defiance spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On distant worlds, alien civilians watched news broadcasts showing human ships defeating vastly superior forces. Some were amazed, others were terrified, but everyone was talking about the small blue planet that had said no to both galactic superpowers. This was exactly what Admiral Korth had feared. The hegemony's power came from the belief that resistance was hopeless. If humans could fight back successfully, other worlds might get the same idea. He could not allow that to happen. "Prepare the biological weapons," he ordered his science officers. "If these humans want to play war, we will show them what real war looks like." The attack came without warning. Hegemony ships launched missiles at Mars and Europa, Earth's largest colonies. But these were not ordinary explosives. They carried diseases designed to kill any form of life they touched. On Mars, colonist settlements went silent one by one. On Europa, the research station stopped responding to calls from Earth. By the time rescue ships arrived, they found empty buildings and dead bodies. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. "They killed civilians," President Brooks said during an emergency meeting. Her voice was quiet, but everyone in the room could hear the rage beneath her calm words. "They killed families. They killed children." General Collins spoke first. "Ma'am, this changes everything. The laws of war." "There are no laws in this war," the president interrupted. "They just proved that. So we fight with no laws either. Give our forces permission to use any tactics necessary. No restrictions. No mercy." What followed became known across the galaxy as the Terran Fury. Human military units that had been fighting defensively suddenly went on the attack. But these weren't the careful, measured attacks that alien commanders expected. These were raids driven by anger and grief, planned by minds that no longer cared about playing fair. Jake Morrison, now promoted to Commodore, led a strike force of 30 ships deep into hegemony territory. Their mission was simple: rescue the human prisoners taken during the initial attacks and make the enemy pay for what they had done. "We're not going to fight like them," Jake told his officers before the mission began. "We're going to fight like humans. That means we use every advantage we can find, no matter how crazy it seems." The strike force hit 3 prison ships in a single day. But instead of attacking the heavily defended main hangar bays, they used mining charges to blow holes in the ship's waste disposal systems. Human commandos crawled through garbage chutes and maintenance tunnels, hitting the aliens from directions they never expected. Tony Davis led one of these rescue teams. The former Marine sergeant had volunteered for the most dangerous missions, after learning that his brother had been on Mars when the biological weapons hit. "Remember," he told his squad as they prepared to board an alien prison ship, "these aren't soldiers. They're kidnappers who murder children. Show them what humans..." To the kidnappers, the raids were devastatingly effective. Human prisoners were freed and alien guard units were destroyed with minimal human casualties. But the real damage was psychological. Hegemony commanders began to realize that humans didn't just fight differently, they thought differently. Back on Earth, Dr. Morgan's Project Prometheus was producing results that amazed even him. Working with the best human engineers and captured alien technology, his teams were creating weapons and defenses that neither alien faction could understand. The key is unpredictability, he explained to Admiral Carter during one of their daily briefings. Alien military technology is designed to counter known threats, but humans keep inventing new threats. The latest invention was a communication system that used quantum entanglement to allow instant coordination across any distance. Human fleets could now work together perfectly even when separated by light years. Alien interception was impossible because the signals didn't travel through space at all. But the most important breakthrough came from Kate Phillips, who had become Earth's chief intelligence officer. Working from a hidden base on the moon, she had successfully infiltrated both alien faction networks. "I've learned something incredible," she reported to President Brooks during a secure video call. "The war between the hegemony and coalition has been going on so long that both sides are running out of resources. Their homeworlds are exhausted. Their populations are tired of fighting. They need this war to end, but neither side wants to be the first to ask for peace." "What does that mean for us?" the president asked. "It means we might not have to defeat them. We just have to make continuing the war more expensive than ending it." The plan that emerged from this discovery was breathtakingly bold. Instead of just defending Earth, humanity would attack both alien factions simultaneously, forcing them to fight a three-way war they couldn't afford to continue. General Collins launched Operation Lightning Storm, coordinated attacks on hegemony and coalition outposts throughout local space. Human soldiers, now equipped with hybrid human-alien technology, proved surprisingly effective in alien environments. Maria Santos, who had become a specialist in adapting alien equipment for human use, led the attack on a coalition supply depot. Her team used modified alien gravity generators to create localized gravitational fields that tore the enemy base apart from the inside. "The aliens build everything the same way," she explained later. "They follow their engineering manuals exactly. But humans improvise. We look at their fancy equipment and think, what else can this do?" The supply depot raid captured enough alien technology to equip 3 human battle groups with advanced shields and weapons. More importantly, it proved that human creativity could turn alien tools into weapons their creators never imagined. The psychological impact on both alien factions was enormous. Coalition Admiral Vex found herself facing a species that seemed to have no respect for proper military procedure. Hegemony Admiral Korth discovered that humans could be far more ruthless than his own warriors when properly motivated. "How do we fight an enemy that doesn't follow any known tactical doctrine?" Admiral Vex asked her staff during a strategy meeting. "We can't predict their moves because they don't make sense," replied her tactical officer. "They attack when they should retreat. They divide their forces when they should concentrate them. They use weapons in ways that violate basic physics." "That's because they keep modifying the weapons," pointed out the science officer. "Every time we figure out how to counter their equipment, they change it." Similar conversations were happening in hegemony command centers. Admiral Korth was beginning to realize that his superiority in numbers and firepower meant nothing against an enemy that refused to fight fair. The breaking point came when Commodore Morrison led a joint human refugee fleet in an attack on the war's front lines. Dozens of neutral species had quietly joined Earth's cause, inspired by humanity's refusal to surrender. The combined fleet struck at both hegemony and coalition forces simultaneously, forcing them to fight each other while also defending against human attacks. "This is impossible," Admiral Korth raged as he watched the tactical display. "We are fighting on 3 fronts at once. Our supply lines are being raided. Our bases are under constant attack. And these humans keep doing things that our computers say cannot work." Admiral Vex was having her own crisis. "My Admiralty is demanding to know why we haven't crushed a single minor species with primitive technology. How do I explain that the primitive species has defeated 4 of our sector fleets?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Deep in coalition territory, a group of alien scientists had been studying human military tactics. Their report, when it reached Admiral Vex, explained everything. "Humans do not fight to win," the report concluded. They fight to survive. This means they will use any method, accept any risk, and pay any price to achieve their goals. They are not bound by honor, tradition, or standard military doctrine. They are only bound by their determination to protect their own kind. In other words, Admiral Vex said to herself as she read the report, "We are not fighting soldiers. We are fighting cornered animals. And cornered animals are the most dangerous creatures in the universe." Both alien factions were beginning to reach the same conclusion. The war with humanity was costing them more than they could afford to lose. Their homeworlds were demanding to know why so many resources were being wasted on a single primitive planet. Other neutral species were starting to rebel, inspired by Earth's example. And still the humans kept fighting. They kept adapting. They kept finding new ways to turn alien advantages into human opportunities. The galaxy was starting to realize that the small blue planet had done something that millions of more advanced worlds had failed to do. They had looked at a war between galactic superpowers and decided to change the rules. The question now was whether the superpowers were smart enough to accept the new rules before humanity decided to end the game entirely. 6 months after Admiral Korth's first ultimatum, the galaxy looked very different. Earth was no longer a small neutral world trying to avoid trouble. It had become the center of a growing alliance of species that refused to accept that the galactic war would go on forever. Dozens of worlds had quietly joined what people were calling the Terran Coalition. These weren't military alliances built on fear or conquest. They were partnerships based on a simple idea: that smaller, weaker species could work together to become stronger than either galactic superpower. Dr. Morgan stood in his laboratory, looking at his greatest creation. It didn't look like much, just a small metal box covered in blinking lights. But this device, which he called the Terran Damper, could permanently shut down the exotic matter reactors that powered both hegemony and coalition fleets. "Are you sure it works?" Admiral Carter asked, studying the device with worried eyes. "We tested it on captured alien ships," Dr. Morgan replied. "Once the damper activates, their reactors go dead and can never be restarted. The ships become powerless, hulks floating in space. And our ships? Human ships use fusion reactors, not exotic matter. The damper doesn't affect us at all." Dr. Morgan smiled grimly. "It's the ultimate deterrent. We can disable their entire military without killing anyone." President Brooks made the decision to reveal the weapon during a broadcast that reached every inhabited world in the galaxy. Standing before the cameras in the same room where she had declared Earth's independence 6 months earlier, she looked directly into the lens. "People of the galaxy," she began, "for too long you have been told that this war is necessary, that peace is impossible, that you must choose between two masters who care nothing for your welfare." Behind her, images showed the Terran Damper being installed on human ships throughout the solar system. "Today I offer you a third choice. Earth and our allies have developed a weapon that can end this war without destroying a single world or killing a single civilian. We can disable the war machines of both factions simultaneously, forcing them to negotiate instead of fight." The reaction was immediate and explosive. On hegemony worlds, Admiral Korth's government declared the broadcast enemy propaganda and ordered it blocked. On coalition worlds, Admiral Vex's council debated whether the human claim was possible. But on neutral worlds, on colony planets, on trade stations and refugee ships, billions of beings watched the broadcast with growing hope. For the first time in decades, someone was offering them a way out of the endless war. Jake Morrison, now Admiral Morrison of the Terran Defense Fleet, stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the UES Victory. The ship was a marvel of human-alien hybrid technology, combining the best features of both faction designs with uniquely human innovations. "Admiral," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 neutral systems. They want to join the Terran Coalition immediately." "What about the major powers?" Jake asked. "Hegemony forces are pulling back to defensive positions around their core worlds. Coalition fleets are doing the same. Both sides are trying to protect their home territories." Jake nodded. It was exactly what they had hoped for. Neither alien faction wanted to risk having their entire fleet disabled by the new human weapon, but neither wanted to be the first to ask for peace talks. Then we'll have to force their hand, Jake decided. Signal the fleet. Operation Final Offer begins now. The operation was the largest military action in human history. Every available ship, from massive battle cruisers to tiny patrol boats, formed up for a coordinated strike at the heart of the Galactic War. But this wasn't an attack meant to destroy. It was a demonstration meant to convince. The combined human fleet, now numbering over 800 ships and supported by vessels from 50 neutral worlds, jumped simultaneously to the sector where both alien factions had been fighting their largest battle of the war. What they found there was a massive space graveyard. Hundreds of wrecked ships from both sides drifted among the debris of destroyed space stations and shattered asteroids. The battle had been raging for weeks with neither side able to claim victory. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Terran Coalition," Jake broadcast on all frequencies. "I'm speaking to both Hegemony and Free World's forces. You have fought here for weeks. Thousands have died. Nothing has been decided. I offer you a better way." On screens throughout both fleets, Jake's face appeared alongside images of the Terran damper devices mounted on human ships. "These weapons can disable every ship in this sector within minutes. Your crews would be safe, but your ships would be powerless. Instead of using them, I propose a different solution." The broadcast continued with an offer that stunned both alien fleets. Earth was proposing to host peace negotiations between all parties. Not surrender terms or demands for tribute, but actual talks aimed at ending the war permanently. "The galaxy is tired of this conflict," Jake continued. "Your own worlds are exhausted. Your people want peace. We can give it to you, but only if you're willing to try something new." The response came from an unexpected source. Deep in coalition space, Admiral Vex had been in contact with moderate factions in her own government. They were ready to end the war but needed political cover to begin negotiations. "Admiral Morrison," she transmitted, "I am authorized to discuss terms, but only if the Hegemony agrees to participate as well." All eyes turned to Admiral Korth's fleet. The massive insect admiral had remained silent throughout the human broadcast. When he finally responded, his words shocked everyone. "The Hegemony will listen to your proposal, humans, but know this: we do not negotiate from weakness. We negotiate because we choose to do so." It was a face-saving gesture that allowed both sides to enter talks without admitting defeat. Within days, representatives from both factions, dozens of neutral worlds, and the growing Terran coalition gathered at Luna Station for the most important diplomatic conference in galactic history. President Brooks opened the conference with words that would be remembered for centuries. "We are not here as conquerors or conquered," she said, addressing the assembled delegates. "We are here as neighbors trying to find a way to live in peace. The war that brought us together ends today. The work of building a better galaxy begins now." The negotiations took 3 months. There were walkouts, angry speeches, and moments when it seemed like the talks would collapse entirely. But gradually, with human mediators helping both sides find common ground, a framework emerged. The Terran Accords, as they came to be known, established Earth as the guarantor of galactic peace. Both major factions would maintain their governments, but would submit disputes to arbitration rather than warfare. A new galactic peacekeeping force, led by humans but including officers from all species, would patrol space lanes and prevent future conflicts. Most importantly, the Accords established the principle that had guided Earth throughout the crisis. No species had the right to force another to choose sides in a conflict they didn't start. Tony Davis, the former Marine sergeant who had become a hero of the human resistance, was chosen to command the first Galactic Peace Academy on Earth. His job was to train officers from every species in the art of preventing wars rather than fighting them. "We're not trying to make everyone human," he explained to his first class of alien cadets. "We're trying to teach everyone that there's always another option besides violence." Maria Santos became director of the Interspecies Technology Council, ensuring that advanced weapons remained controlled while beneficial innovation spread freely to all worlds. Her first project was developing new terraforming technology that could restore worlds damaged by the war. Kate Phillips, now Earth's Minister of Galactic Communications, established translation and cultural exchange programs that helped different species understand each other better. Wars start when people stop talking, she often said. Our job is to keep the conversation going. Dr. Morgan continued his research, but now he focused on peaceful applications of alien technology. His hybrid human-alien medical devices saved millions of lives and proved that cooperation produced better results than competition. The ceremony marking the end of the Galactic War took place exactly 1 year after Admiral Korth's first ultimatum. Representatives from every inhabited world gathered in Earth's orbital space to witness the signing of the final peace treaty. Admiral Morrison, now promoted to Marshal of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force, stood beside President Brooks as they watched former enemies shake hands and pledge to work together. "Think it will last?" the President asked quietly. "It will last as long as we remember why we fought," Jake replied. "We didn't fight to conquer anyone. We fought to prove that there was a better way." The ceremony concluded with the launch of humanity's newest ship, the UES Harmony. Unlike the warships that had fought in the recent conflict, this vessel was designed purely for exploration and peaceful contact with new species. As the ship disappeared into hyperspace on its mission to explore unknown regions of the galaxy, Earth's leaders reflected on how much had changed. A year ago, they had been a small neutral world trying to avoid trouble. Now they were the center of a galactic community dedicated to peace.